Welcome to Lesson 1, Problem 6, where we are solving equations by clearing fractions or decimals first. Let's get started with 6a. I'm going to zoom in so we have plenty of space to see what's going on here. And what we're going to do is we're trying to get rid of these decimals. 4 decimals going on right here. So let's multiply through by the lowest multiple of 10 that will clear the decimals. In this case, that would be 100 because 100 will move every decimal 2 positions to the right. Now remember, that 100 has to multiply every term. So the first term is going to become 60. So 60 plus 21k minus 3 equals 120. Let's combine our 60 and our minus 3, and we get 57 plus 21k equals 120. Subtract 57 from both sides of the equal sign, and we end up with 21k equals 63. Of course, we're going to divide both sides by 21, and our final answer will simply be k equals 3. Okay, let's go to B. For problem B, I'm going to change the color so you can clearly see which problem is which with the work. I'm going to multiply through by the least common denominator, otherwise known as the least common multiple. In this case, there's only one denominator, and it happens to be 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the entire equation through by 2. Let's make that 2 look a little bit more like a 2. All right, so I'm going to make it look a little more like a 2. All right, so 2 has to multiply through every single term. 2 times 1/2 is simply going to be 1 or 1m. I'm just going to write it as m. Minus 16 equals negative 4. Now, if you're not sure how 2 times 1/2 gave me just 1, think of it this way. 2 times 1/2 is simply 2 over 2, which is 1. I just wrote m instead of 1m. Add 16 to both sides, and nice answer of m equals 12. We are done. M equals 12. Okay, let's go to C. In C, we are going to multiply. Let's change that color again. Let's do a different color blue. How about this blue? Just so you can see where the work stops and ends for each problem. Okay, let's multiply through by the least common denominator again, and this time it's 5. So we're going to multiply everything through by 5, or if you want to think of it as 5 over 1, that's fine as well. 5 times 13 gives us 65. So 65 equals 20, 5 times 4. And then the 5 times the 3/5. Keep in mind that 5 times the 3/5 makes the 5's cancel. So we simply have plus 3p. And just like that, we have made that very complicated equation with 3/5 as a part of the problem, one of the coefficients. We've just simply eliminated it. And we've done that by multiplying through by the 5. Now we're going to subtract 20 from both sides, and we are almost done. 45 equals 3p. Divide both sides by 3, and p is simply equal to 15, and we're done. Okay, let's go back to the red for this last one. This last one's a little trickier because there are 3 denominators. There's a 2, a 6, and a 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at those 3 denominators and take the least common denominator of the 3, which happens to be 6, because 2, 6, and 3 all go into 6 nicely. So let's take that 6, and again, if you want to write it as 6 over 1, no problem. We're going to distribute it to every term. And the nice part about this process is every one of those denominators will now cancel. So 6 times 1/2 simply gives us 3 plus 5c equals, and then when you do the 6 times the 2/3, you're going to get simply 4c. Now, if you're not sure how I did that so quickly, you could, for example, when you do 6 times 2/3, you could do the long way, 6 over 1 times 2 over 3. That'll give you 12 over 3, which reduces to 4. But what I would prefer you do is I would prefer that you think of it as 6 over 1 times 2 over 3 in your head, and 6 over 3 becomes simply 2 because that reduces to a 2, and 2 times 2 gives us our 4. So we know we get 4c right there. Okay, now all we have to do is subtract 5c from both sides. So 3 is equal to a negative 1c. Divide both sides by negative 1, and c equals negative 3. If you prefer, you could have left it as negative 3 equals c, same exact thing. Okay, I'm going to kind of zoom in again, so if you have any questions, you know where to reach out, and you can see all the answers on one page. Great job. See you soon.